Hello everybody. It is Saturday the 16th of November and I want to talk again about something that should be a fundamental understanding for all of us before we can even go any further in the evolution of the knowledge of ourselves. And that is, we must make the clear distinction between the source, that in which everything has its being, and the being itself. That is to make the difference between the uncreated and the created. Now, the created is created out of the uncreated. We all come from the source. But we are distinct possibilities that were contained in the source. We are not all. None of us is. Nothing that is created is the source in its entirety. And here is where really an awful lot of confusion is in this world. And I just heard in a video saying that when Jesus said, "When you see me, you have seen the Father," or this idea of the Father and I are one, is the idea that he is talking about the source, and he is not. He absolutely is not. He's talking about another created possibility. The kingdom of the Father that is not in this world, of this world, is within the realm of the created, and by that it is not all. It can't be. Yeah? The drop is not the ocean. And any sheep that can endlessly bleep that mantra has got its brain firmly switched off. The drop is not the ocean. Since when? They are both made out of water, but they're two distinctly different things. Yeah? But I just heard, I was in church yesterday. I was at a wedding, and I heard the source of that confusion. I heard the false teaching. The absolutely false teaching that is creating this. And that is, I heard the pastor standing there saying, "In Jesus Christ we all have our being." And that is nuts. It's nonsensical. That means we all have our being inside another being. And that is not the truth. Jesus was a distinct being, and we cannot have all our being in him. He is not all. He's only a part. Now, the distinction between the source and the created being, and what is actually happening in that teaching. The problem with the teaching in the New Testament is that the source and God as the distinct possibility, being, they're all named by the same name. It's all called God or the Father. Yeah? Again, creating the impression that it's all talking about the same thing, and it's not. Now, when Jesus talked about in him we all, by him everything is created. Without him nothing is created. In him there is no judgment. He gives to all, the lilies in the field and the birds in the sky. That speaks about the source, out of which everything is created. Yeah? When he says, "I bring you knowledge of the Father, I bring you the knowledge of the source," he did. And again, then it is within us and it's all around it. We were created from it. Yeah? So he knew himself on a different level. Not just as the solid being, but on the level of energy and vibration. That's what I would call it now. And then he was navigating his being inside of the source, where everything has its being, on that level. He knew on that level. Yeah? He was not the source in its entirety. Nothing can be that. But he had a greater knowledge of himself, and therefore he navigated his being inside of the field, inside of the source, on a different level of knowledge. And it was on that level that he was in contact with other beings that we would not know in the physical. So there is the kingdom of my Father that is not of this world, not of the physical world. The knowledge of that is not in the physical world. You have to shift to a different level to know that. And I mean, other things happen apart from, but we must be aware of the fact that if this shift happens in us, that there will be other beings that we are not aware of in our physical state. There are other things obviously that happened at the same time, and that is a greater awareness of the physical world itself and working it on that level, and that's where all the miracles come in, the healings and stuff like that. So simultaneously those two things happened. So, and then again there was this choice. Once you reach this level of awareness of yourself, you are that right now. You just don't know it. What do you do with that? Do you work it in this world? Healing others? Doing stuff that is good to create a good world for all here? Or do you use it to shift permanently into that other reality? That was the way of the cross. I'm going to the kingdom of my Father that is not of this world, and that was the ascension. He had permanently shifted his being to become energetically like them. Again, this is not all. That is not the source itself. That is happening within the source. That is one possibility, one way that leads to one outcome. That is a possibility contained within the source. Again, make the distinction between the two. The source is all. That is only one little part that is happening within it. Now, but as I said, the way it's taught, that is all. Jesus was the source. That kingdom is the source. There is nothing else. And that is a false teaching. That is completely false. Now, we can go the way of we are all there ever was and ever will be, and let's just go into hell with the consequences. Or we can understand to the amount that we can. I mean, we probably won't know it all. You need to experience it to have the fullness of the truth. But heck, you can prepare yourself. You know, you can read. If you go on a journey into a different country, you can read travel guides to prepare yourself for that other country. And that's probably wiser than just going there and not knowing what it is you're doing in different customs in different worlds, countries. So we can use the teachings of the past and the knowledge that we have now, the understanding that we have now, to prepare ourselves to some amount before we jump into that possibility. Now, to me, that would be wisdom. And that is the last thing I want to talk about, and that is because all the different layers, all the different levels of reality are governed by laws. Yeah, and nothing escapes the law. That is what the Hermetics knew. So in the solid world, there are laws that govern what will happen in the solid world if you're on this level of understanding yourself and everything else around you. You are in the solid world, you're subject to the laws of the solid world. So in this world we have the law of gravity. If an apple falls from the tree, it will inevitably hit the ground because it's subject to those laws. If you jump off a cliff while still being on a physical understanding, you will inevitably fall to the bottom of the cliff because you're subject to the law of gravity. And it is a reality on this level of understanding. Every other level has got its laws. Again, something the Hermetics understood. And you need to work within those laws, and you need to have an understanding of those laws because they govern cause and effect as much as gravity does now. So then understand that if you go the way of Jesus, the way of denial of self, it will inevitably take you to that place. That is cause and effect. And that is spiritual work that you're doing on yourself. Again, you're actually working on yourself on a higher level, even if you're not aware of that. If you're not reasoning that, but you're doing it. And it is a cause, it will create a cause and it will have an effect. So at the moment you're saying, we are evolving. If you do this blindly, you're being evolved. Somebody is evolving you to go to that place. And you don't know what you're doing. So that's the last thing I want to say, and that is a while ago now, I would say it was years from now, I was actually at the same place as David Icke and others are now. That is, I saw this world as being surrounded by the gods, by other worlds, and they were all bad, they're all demons. And I have this reoccurring thought, and that is a thought born out of reason. And it is reasonable to think that. And that is that the heavens are not all bad. And if everything is a reflection of everything else, in this world you have got good and bad, then there's no reason to think why you shouldn't have good and bad out there. We are beings that are grown out of this world, which is a world where many different parts live together, where they form ecosystems, where all the parts cooperate to sustain the entire ecosystem. That is who we are. And there's no reason to think that there shouldn't be others out there that are like us, and that have the desire to live in peace and in cooperation as part of a greater web of life that is built out of ecosystems. I mean, there's no reason to think that they don't exist. And we should seek them. That would be our future. That is according to our own truth and being with others that are like us. Now, the God of the Bible is not like us. Those beings are not like us. They have no interest in cooperation. They have no interest in becoming an integrated part of something else. Look at the first book of the Bible. God wants to subdue nature. He wants to rule over it. He wants to have dominion over worlds. That is who they are, in essence. Yeah, and that is why you have to subdue yourself, to be ruled over. And you cannot reason with them. I don't think you can reason with them. In all of the Bible, it's my will must be done or else. Because that is who they are. But this teaching, that they are all, that the all was contained, that Jesus was the all, that we all must have our being in that. We must have our being in that, because there is no other possibility. That is a completely false teaching. So, really, make the separation between that which facilitates all these things happening. And you can have knowledge of the source on different levels. Knowledge of yourself, because the source is within you, on different levels. And then you experience your being inside of the source in a different way. But you never, ever become all. Never. It cannot be done. The drop is not the ocean. And it never will be. That is completely nonsensical. The fact that we should all have our being inside of the being of Jesus Christ is completely nonsensical. So make the distinction. What I would call God is another being that thinks itself God. The source is just that in which all of these things happening. It has got its laws. We must know those laws to navigate our being correctly in the solid or on any other level. But no being is all. It can't be. And every ancient teaching will tell you that. That was one of the fundamental knowledges that was there from the beginning. It is the thing that is unknowable. But we have our being in it. Anyway, here I leave it at that for today. And I talk to you again soon. Bye.